Starting in 5 seconds. Mr. Deputy Speaker, Sir, we must find out the main reason why there were so many writ petitions and petitions for special leave to appeal to the Supreme Court. That was so because in most of these cases we had made the decision of that tribunal final. Now, under the Constitution, the Supreme Court has got the right to grant special leave of appeal that is naturally untouched. Similarly, the courts have got the right of the power to issue writs. Of course, I cannot say that it is all without justification. Probably many of those courts thought that in a matter where the aggrieved party had no remedy whatsoever, they should rather have the right to look into that matter. And it was from that point of view probably that we had so many appeals and so many writ petitions issued by the High Court. Now we are going to provide in this measure for a direct appeal to the High Court itself. As lawyer members probably know, when there is a remedy by way of appeal, no High Court ordinarily issue any writ and the Supreme Court is not expected to grant any special leave of appeal. It has therefore been found desirable to provide straightway for an appeal to the High Court by an aggrieved party. I think this will also remove much of the delay which is ordinarily caused by these matters. Sir, apart from that, the clause itself mentions that the tribunal shall decide the election petition within 6 months and that the High Court shall dispose it of within 3 months. I know that even if we impose such a restriction, it may not necessarily be so, but I am sure that unless there are any special reasons, etc., the tribunals will dispose of these matters within 6 months, and the High Courts also will give priority to matter like these and dispose them of within 3 months. So, the honorable members will find that the present provision that has been made in this bill is much more satisfactory than the previous one. Sir, there are one or two other matters which were raised by previous speakers. I will briefly refer to them. Some thought we might make voting compulsory. It is a very difficult thing to do in a democracy like ours. We have adult franchise and 40 crores of people are involved. This is an impossible thing. You may compulsorily take a voter to the polling booth, but I do not know how you can compulsorily make him vote. Of course, there are one or two countries like Australia and Belgium where I am told this thing is being done, but with these exceptions, all over the world, no country has thought it proper to do this on such a large scale. Therefore, it is not as if this power is given to some executive officer of the government. It is not correct to look at it from that point of view. As honorable members know, a man may be convicted or even sentenced to 2 years for offences which may not involve what is regularly termed as moral turpitude. To introduce the words moral turpitude in a measure like this will not be desirable because it is a term which may be which may have different types of circumstances. This moral turpitude is a thing which cannot be defined. Therefore, the other house thought that the best way and the best remedy out of this was to leave the power to the election commission itself. And I believe there has been no complaint till now in any proper case that the election commission has ever hesitated to remove disqualification if it could be done. I am sure that hereafter also there is no such danger so far as that independent authority is concerned, but to introduce the term moral turpitude in this measure, that very vague term has not been found. Sir, as the Honorable Minister are aware, there was a little confusion with regard to the various categories of corrupt practices. For instance, there were major corrupt practices, there were minor corrupt practices, and there were illegal practices, and all of them had different effects under different circumstances. And even some of the lawyers found this matter rather a very intricate one. Therefore, in the present bill, only corrupt practices have been mentioned, and the distinctions between major and minor corrupt practices has been taken away. Of course, so far as offences are concerned, there is that category of electoral offences, and that has been done not with a view to changing any particular effect with respect to the matter which are undesirable, but that has been done with a view to making the whole thing far more simple and easily understandable. So, you will find that so far as the present bill is concerned, it has made the election law as simple as possible. Probably there has been some difference of opinion in the other house, and there might be some difference of opinion in this house as well with regard to the clause relating to disqualification, and particularly with regard to the disqualification incurred by a person who has been sentenced to imprisonment for 2 years and more. The reason for that is that generally the offences for which a man is sentenced to 2 years are cognizable offences and offences of a more serious nature. It was therefore thought that In such a case, he should not be allowed to stand for 5 years more. But even then, as matters now stand that disqualification can be removed by the Election Commission in suitable cases. Now, as the honorable members are aware, the Election Commission is a special constitutional authority set up by us in order to ensure the free and fair election which we want to have in the country. Stop.